this video I'm making Modrons for Dungeons and Dragons. Hello, this is Craig from Bitzbox.co.uk, and in this video I'm going to be making two types of Modrons that can be used in games of Dungeons and Dragons. So, obviously there's so many miniatures available for D&D, but Modrons seem quite difficult to find, and they're not. The ones I have found aren't particularly amazing, and they are weird creatures, and I'm actually quite excited to make some myself, so I thought I'd make some myself. I haven't seen anyone else on YouTube making any, so I thought it was a good opportunity for me to make a few and show you how I do that, and hopefully you guys will like them. So if you are new to this channel, then welcome, and do feel free to subscribe. Do all sorts of wargaming and role-playing content. Also, before we begin, just want to give a big shout out to our Patreons. These guys are excellent at supporting the channel, and if you want to see what Patreon is all about, there's a link down below. And also, a lot of videos we like to put out two together, and one of them will be on Patreon. So in this case, I'm doing two videos on Modrons. The first one, and this one, I'm going to be making the Monodrone and Duodrone, and there'll be another one on Patreon where I make the Tridrone and Quadrone. That will be on YouTube in the future though, so if you're watching this like a month or two in the future, then both will already be on YouTube. But if you're watching this within the first couple of weeks of its release, then yeah, head over to Patreon if you want to see that video right away. So without further ado, let's just get straight into this. Okay then, so we're looking at Modrons in this video. So we'll start by building a Monodrone. Well, actually two Monodrones. I'm going to do them slightly different to each other, so a couple of options for you guys to follow here. I've already made one test one, which I won't show you now because it will spoil the surprise. But so essentially I've got two bases here from Games Workshop. Now obviously you can use any old plastic bases, you could buy MDF bases or whatever, but I happen to have a lot of GW bases because obviously we supply GW parts, and I am going to be using some GW parts in these conversions, and starting with the legs. So I've got two different pairs of legs here. Now they're different sizes, which is why we have different size bases, of course. So the first pair I have are Necron warrior legs, and the other ones are Skitarii ranger legs, and they're not going to stand up by themselves. So it depends how sort of big you want your Modron, depending on what size legs you use. My test one actually used the Necron warrior legs, and I really actually quite liked the result. But I want to try a smaller one, because obviously Monodrones are usually they are the smallest of the Modrons, so you'll get a fairly decent size one here. Now I'm not too worried about it myself. If you want a smaller one, then maybe go with the Skitarii ranger legs. So I'm gluing these to the base. I'm going to let them dry, and then we can work on the torso of the little Monodrone. So typically Monodrones have a round body, so I decided to pick up some round beads. Now these are little wooden ones. 15mm is the size I'm using here, so 15mm, and these actually have holes through. A lot of this stuff you'll find if you're using like beads and stuff, they'll have holes through, obviously. And what makes them really good is for the Necron legs, you can literally pop them on there, a little bit of super glue, that ain't going to go anywhere. They fit pretty nicely onto the Skitarii Rangers as well. Obviously you'll have to hold it in place while the glue dries, but yeah, I'm using super glue here. You could use hot glue. I just find hot glue just a bit fiddly when it comes to like really small stuff. You can use PVA glue as well. That will dry nice and hard, but of course with PVA glue it will take a long time to dry. So yeah, for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to use super glue throughout. Okay, so the next step is to add some more sort of mechanical elements to these. Of course we've got the robotic legs already, but yeah, I'm going to add all sorts of like cogs and stuff to them. So you can go on like eBay and buy loads of little cogs and bits from like old watches. You can pick them up relatively cheap. So that's what I've got here. I've got loads of random bits here. I'm just going to get a couple of plain bits first. These are just plain little round bits, and if the camera wants to focus on them. And this is just to go on the holes on the top. So again, just with my super glue, put this little one on him. Now of course if you have round parts without holes on top, then you obviously won't have anything to cover up, but you can still do this as well. It just sort of gives them something different just on the top there. Let's get that shot. So yeah, typically Modrons, as you see from the artwork, they have these sort of goofy faces, and the Monodrones has like a big sort of eye thing. I'm not going to replicate that here because I want to use these more as mechanical constructs. If you were to do that, I really don't really know what sort of stuff you could use, unless you'd sort of have to sculpt your own face out of like green stuff or something like that. If you have any ideas, then definitely leave a comment below for other people what you could use for like the faces on them. As it is, I'm just going to use like cogs and stuff. So I'm still going to have like a single eye in the middle, but it's going to be like a cog. So I'm just going to pick out some cog parts to use. I'm also going to put some cogs on the side for where we're going to put the arms. So I'm going to pick out some cogs and glue them to a miniature, and then I'll be back for the next step. Okay, so as you can see, I've added some cogs here. So I've basically just got one up front to sort of represent like a little face type thing, and then one either side, which is where the arms are going to go. So for the arms, I'm sure there's many different robotic arms you could use from several different miniature ranges. Obviously I'm sort of working with what we've got and what's available at Bitzbox, and I'm going to use some arms from the Citadel Skeleton Warriors. So Games Workshop Skeleton Warriors have some really good bits, so I'm going to use arms from them. So they might look a little bit small on the larger guy. I'm just taking a sword and just an arm on its own for both of these, and again just using super glue, just going to glue them onto these cogs. So probably a bit too much super glue there. It's going to make this awkward. Good trick with super glue is not to put too much on. You might feel like if you put more on you'll get a better stick, but that's not really the case, and it just gets all over your fingers and makes a mess. So yeah, I'll come back and I'll glue these on properly like a grown-up. Okay, so Monodrone Modrons are almost complete. Now of course they do have wings, so I found wings to be a bit of a tricky one. Now there are plenty of wings you can buy, different miniature ranges, even some third-party suppliers will sell sets of wings. They're a little bit on the pricey side, and I didn't really want to buy any for these, and especially sort of mechanical wings are a little bit more harder to come by. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different, and I'm going to take some little tiny little wings that I've got from a Dark Angels set. These are from the Raven Wing Command. They actually got on the side of the head of one of the helmets. As he remembers that he must turn his speakers down. And yeah, I'm essentially gonna glue these just above the arms, and here's one I did earlier rather than just showing you guys here. I'll show you the completed model because this is the last step. And yeah, you can see he's got these little wings. Now yeah, they're a little bit tiny and a little, you know, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I think they look pretty cool. And yeah, that's essentially a completed Monodrone Modron. So yeah, it's up to you. Let's get a miniature for scale. I've got some Carnivale stuff about here. So like a normal sort of NPC, this is a regular sort of 28mm scale guy. So you can see they're quite tall, whereas the one with the Ranger's legs are smaller. So if you prefer a more smaller one, they aren't exactly the strongest of enemies you'll fight, then maybe go with the Skitarii Ranger legs. Although I just quite like the Necron Warrior ones. They're a lot easier to do as well. So that's Monodrones. So let's move on to Duodrones. Okay, so moving on to the Duodrones. These are not as easy to do as the Monodrones. Sort of thinking about how I'm going to do this. I've got a few things together. Naturally, as we're going for something that's more sort of cuboid, rectangular, then obviously dice are an obvious choice. These are just a normal white dice set, and you're getting a lot of GW sets. They're about 10mm, I think. There's lots of other dice you can get. I think I'll just simply put in a dice on a pair of these legs. These are the Ranger legs, Skatari Ranger legs again. In the picture, obviously the Duodrone actually has two sections, so this might not be the best option to do this, but this is just one sort of quick option. So just use the dice. But I'm also going to look into the other way as well. This is something I'm struggling with a little bit more. I've got a smaller dice, and I've also got these tiny little beads. Now, if I'll get them up just to tell you what size they are. I've glued them both together, as you can see, and I'm thinking maybe I could have like some cogs and something in the middle and have them up there like that. These ones just have like a 0 on, as I thought that would just be a bit more natural than just some sort of random letter or number. So that's sort of what I'm thinking. I suppose you could have like 2 of them and then another 2. I just think that seems a little bit too small maybe. But yeah, I've been sort of racking my brains for this one. It's a bit more difficult. I'm sort of doing it off the sort of on the fly here. So you could have something essentially like that. Kind of works. I'm not a massive fan of that. I do quite like the idea of having the sort of larger one with a smaller one, but of course it's all personal choice, of course. And yeah, these are 6mm, these tiny ones. So 6mm is for size, and I think I've got the black dice for black. Yeah, okay, so the black dice are 10mm. So these are probably more like 12. So yeah, I'm going to have a play around, get them glued up and see what we come up with. Before I do that as well, if you're wondering about what to do with the dots, you could fill them in with putty. I'm hoping just to cover them up with like cogs and stuff so you won't see them. But yeah, I'll get these glued up and see what I come up with. But I don't expect the results here to be as good as the Monodrones, but we'll see what we can do. So this is what I have at the moment. Yeah, I'm not liking them as much as the Monodrones. They're just off in the background there, and they just look so good in comparison. But yeah, these are a lot trickier. Kind of got this sort of Wally type looking thing here. I don't know if this is making the torso too long for him now. Definitely gonna have the arms coming off the bottom, I think. And then this one's just gonna be a basic straight up cube. It's okay. If I had maybe a smaller dice, I want something sort of in between. These two really would probably be ideal, but I think we can make it work. It's not going to be too different from having the round ball on the Monodrone. Maybe just the clear wood beads just look a little bit neater than these. Just probably another reason why I favour them a little bit more. I'm going to stick with this. I only want a couple of little Duodrones. Of course, if you guys have any better suggestions or something else we could use, please do leave them in the comments down below for myself and for others as well. But yeah, persevere. I'm going to add some cogs and arms and stuff, and hopefully these will look semi-decent. So that's the next step. So again, going back to my watch parts, I've just got all manner of cogs and stuff. I'm just going to stick on quite a few, cover up these dots and stuff, and hopefully, you know, I've got some big ones here, look, I could cover up most of that. You haven't got to cover up the dots fully, but once you start covering things up, you won't really see what they used to be. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pile on loads of cogs and stuff and see how they look after that, and then we'll add the arms on. Okay, so I've added several little cogs and pieces. Covers up a lot of the dots There's this one. I think it makes them look a little bit better now. I'm a little bit more happy with them. As you can probably tell, I was a little bit worried about them. So, yeah, Duodrones have javelins and fists, essentially. Again, you could just get any old robotic arms if you can find any. I'm just going to dip into the skeleton box set from Games Workshop. And they do have spears, so spears could be used for the javelins. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give them both a spear, like so. And again, the left arm will be the same as what we've used on the Monodrones. So yeah, I'm going to get them glued on. These are a pain to glue on. Again, I'm using super glue, but easier to do off camera, so I'll do that. And these will be done, and we'll show them off with the Monodrones at the end. Okay, so here's how they look compared to the smaller Monodrone. I get one of the larger ones as well. So yeah, you might want your Duodrones to be bigger than your Monodrones, so you don't necessarily have to use these neck-on legs. I just quite like the look. But yeah, we're all using the same sort of set of legs there, and they're sort of roughly the same size. This one does stand a little bit taller. But I do actually quite like them actually now they're done. They're not terrible by any means. I quite like them. They're going to look pretty cool when they're painted up. Now, if any of you guys actually want to see me do a video on how I paint them, then certainly let me know in the comments down below, and I'll get that made. I'm going to do another video converting up some of the other drones as well, and I'll tell you what, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. So this video will go on Patreon first, but it will be on YouTube in the future. But this is a tri-drone that I came up with as a prototype. Yeah, they're called tri-drones, aren't they? I've just got the monster manual here. Yeah, tri-drone. So yeah, that's a little sneak peek at that. So I'll show you how I make that, and we'll also make a quad-drone as well. So I have no ideas how to do a pentadrone, so I'll leave that one for now. But yeah, in the next video I'll be doing tri-drones and quad-drones. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed these videos, and if you have, please do give it a thumbs up to let me know that you've enjoyed it. And of course, any comments you can leave down below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, then please feel free to do so. As I said, the tri-drone and quad-drone video will come up on YouTube in the near future, but in the meantime, you can check it out right now on our Patreon page for as little as $1. So, all that's left to say is thank you so much for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again very soon. If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. You can also click that bell icon to be notified when a new video has gone live on this channel. On the screen now are 2 more videos that you may wish to check out, and a link to our Patreon page also. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.